Before you can extract HL7 messages to files, you need to make a directory, if you don't already have one, to put the files in, and then you need to give it permissions for anyone to put a file in there. So we're doing that here in a terminal window. Then you go over and make sure that your settings for your background directory are correct and match what you just created. Then you go over to your HL7 message search and you put in the criteria that you want. This is good for backloading ADT information, extracting a large amount of data from your production system, and then maybe running it in from your test. So when you want to be sure you get only the messages that you want, so you can use include and exclude criteria in addition to the index and pattern. Then you check your background search and you start. And this will launch a background process that will run, and it updates the status window that lets you know how many messages it's found, and that will continue. But I see I forgot to get the correct date range. I wanted to include today as well, so we interrupted it. Now we can go and start over again, but let's make sure we have everything deleted in that directory. It didn't create any files, so I'm just being extra careful. And we start the background search all over again. And you can see there it goes again. This process is going to take about 15 minutes. And while it's running, it doesn't affect anything. You can still do searches or whatever you like. So because this is going to take 15 minutes, I'm going to chop out bits. See, we just jumped to 172,000 messages there found. And I'm going to chop out some more in a minute, some more time segments. You can follow the time in the upper right hand corner. And you see everything's not affected by doing a background search. And we'll go back and continue to watch its progress. Okay, it's time to jump a bit more. So it continues along however long you want to go. This is going to be about 425,000 messages by the time it's done, but it can be millions of messages. You just need to have enough disk space for your global that you're creating, and enough disk space on your in your file system for the files. So we're up to 274,000 messages. And it just keeps running in the background, just like the index job keeps running in the background. Okay, now we're at 414,000 messages found. Once we get to once it finishes finding all the messages, then it starts telling you that it's updating the global that's used to write out the files. So it creates one global, and then it formats it into another global for writing out the messages to the correct file names. It's going to write out to file names that are based upon the source and target names and the user ID. So multiple users can do this at the same time, although each user can only run one at a time. You see unknown user, import to output, naming there, source to target. That shows you what it looks like in the Unix directory while it's writing out, and now it's complete. You see you have 429,000. And if you look in your GUI tool to see the contents of your directory, you can see the patterns there and the size of your files. Of course, they're in perfect HL7 format, carriage return after each segment, and a line feed after after each message.